Right, okay.
Right, on air, everyone, in.
Good afternoon, this is your 4 PM bulletin from Solent Sports News with me, Gurpreet Singh. Southampton's new appointment, Mark Hughes, held his first press conference earlier today ahead of the FA Cup tie against Wigan. We can actually cross over live now to St Mary's Stadium to where our reporter Jack Stevens has more.
Hello, yes, I was at a sunny St Mary's. It was a very positive conference from Hughes. He seemed full of energy and confident he could keep the Saints up. One thing he seems intent on doing is keeping the press sweet, starting by presenting us with a box of donuts. Always a good way to make sure the tabloids stay on your good side. It did help create a good atmosphere, which is something the club had seemed to be lacking in recent times. Hughes did say that he was slightly nervous about the morale of his side, considering current form, but the willingness of the players has impressed him.
When you walk into a club, you're always a little bit apprehensive in terms of what you're going to find. Are you going to find a group of players that are disenfranchised? Are they fragmented as a group? Are their levels too low that you can't, in the space of time you've got, to bring them up? But I haven't seen that, which is really encouraging. So I've got a good group, a willing group that's ready to work to make sure that we're successful.
Southampton travelled to Wigan this weekend in the FA Cup quarter-final, and Hughes has labelled this a welcome distraction and an opportunity to raise spirits among the team and fans by booking a trip to Wembley. Hughes did today announce, though, that Charlie Austin will miss the game for injury. The new boss is willing to go all out to secure his team's place in the semi-final of a tournament he's always enjoyed.
It's a competition that's been very good for me during my career. I was very fortunate to win it on quite a few occasions, and it always figured highly throughout my playing career. So I've got a great deal of affection and emotion for the competition. So we would never demean the competition by not focusing as strongly as we need to.
Our reporter Dan Lewis has been busy speaking to ex-Saints player and Southampton fans about the new appointment. I don't know which one it is. It's one of the mixed downs. Chelsea boss Antonio Conte is still unsure of who to play in goal for their FA Cup tie against Leicester on Sunday. Current number 1 Thibaut Courtois played in their 3-0 defeat to Barcelona on Wednesday, but Willy Caballero has played in every FA Cup game for the Blues this season.
We are talking about two good goalkeepers, Thibaut and Willy. We don't have rules for the competitions, and I repeat, on Sunday I'll try to make the best decision because we want to try to go to the next round.
And going back to Southampton now, our reporter Dan Lewis has been busy speaking to ex-Saints player and Southampton fans about the new appointment.
Mark Hughes, Ripley a chance to provide further supply for English for Newcastle. Østenstad, Solent, Mark Hughes, the great volley out! A truly great goal. The old maestro hasn't lost it.
That was Mark Hughes finding the net for Southampton in their 4-2 win over Newcastle 18 years ago. He's now back at the club as a manager and is looking to steer his side away from the relegation zone. Southampton legend Matthew Le Tissier explained why Hughes may well be the best fit for the club.
Yeah, I think in the position we're in, I think we needed somebody to come in. It's a short period of time, so you needed someone with experience of the league. And I think that over 400 games managing the Premier League, Mark's certainly got that experience, and hopefully he can draw upon every single bit of it to get us out of the trouble we're in.
Maurizio Pellegrino was sacked by the Saints on Monday after winning only one game in his last 17 Premier League fixtures, leaving the Saints in 17th place. Southampton finished 8th last year, and Dave Merrington, a former Saints manager, believes the ex-Stoke boss can make his mark on St Mary's.
When you look at Mark, both as a player and a manager, as a player, I just felt he was an excellent professional. He was a manager's dream, really, both on and off the field. He played with the right attitude. He had that right mental ingredient. He was mentally tough and strong. And I think he'll bring authority back into the dressing room, which I think was missing.
Hughes has just 8 crucial Premier League games to secure survival, with his side just 1 point off the drop zone. We've spoken to the public here in Southampton to find out what they make of the appointment.
To be honest, they're going to be just destined to fail now. I think it was a manager that was on decline anyway at Stoke before he got sacked.
Well, he's a Premier League experienced manager, and that's what we need to begin with at the moment anyway. I still think it's a bit late.
I think it's pretty decent. I think he's a good manager. He did well at like Stoke, and I think he'll do a good job and keep them up.
I think it's a good appointment. The club desperately needed a change.
Hughes' first test as Saints boss is a trip to Wigan Athletic in the FA Cup quarter-final on Sunday, where a win for his side would see them make a trip to Wembley for the semis. Whether Southampton will push for silverware this season remains to be seen, but maintaining their Premier League status appears to be top of their priorities. Daniel Lewis, Solent Sports News.
Now, we just heard views from Matt Le Tissier, a player who played for Saints his whole career, and now a player at bitter rivals Portsmouth who is looking to do the same. Ash Gregory reports.
Ryan Giggs, Frank Lampard, Steven Gerrard. These football players are a rare breed. They're players that have committed themselves to one club for either their entire career or almost all of it. But this type of player seems to be dying out. Times are changing, and the concept of a one-club man could be gone before we know it. Portsmouth youngster Connor Chaplin has been with the club for 14 years, and he wants to buck the trend.
If you look at it from that point of view, then it's definitely something that I'd want to happen, yeah, without a shadow of a doubt, because that means that you'd have a brilliant career because you have no reason to move. The manager doesn't not like you and things like that. You'd have no reason to move, which is definitely why it'd be a good thing.
That was the song the Fratton faithful sing for Connor. But does being a fan favourite add any extra pressure?
You feel loved when people sing your song, and you do hear anyone that says they don't hear it's lying. In all honesty, I don't see how someone could see that as a pressure. I see it more as a confidence booster, more as a freedom to go out there and express what you do because the fans are behind you. And I've had a great relationship with the fans for sort of the 4 years that I've been in the first team.
Connor is a youngster looking to emulate some of the former greats, but now let's hear from one of them. Southampton legend Matt Le Tissier explained why he spent his whole career with the Saints.
The short answer is I was happy where I was. I felt like I owed Southampton Football Club something. I was just a kid from Guernsey. You don't get many footballers from Guernsey, and Southampton gave me my chance in professional football, and I felt like I wanted to actually repay them for the faith they showed in me.
But Le Tissier received plenty of offers from bigger clubs. So what stopped him from eyeing up that big money deal?
Yes, I did have opportunities, given to me. Spurs, Chelsea, Liverpool, all kind of had interest. The thing for me was always to be happy, to be comfortable, to be able to have a normal life.
A less extravagant life might appeal to some. With the money being thrown around in the Premier League nowadays, Matt suggests it's not the big clubs who suffer.
It is an issue for smaller clubs who will struggle now to hold on to the better players at their football clubs, and we've seen that at Southampton.
Southampton are a club in particular that have struggled with their best players moving to more attractive clubs. But Sky Sports commentator Gary Tapperhouse suggests more players would like to commit than we might think.
And a lot depends on, do the club want you to stay? There are lots of examples of players who would very much like to have stayed at the club, and actually the club have decided to move them on.
But with the whirlwind of cash surrounding Europe's top leagues, can we expect players to not want to move?
Generally speaking, I think most players in the right situation for the right money would move on. So I think we're very rarely going to see someone come through the youth team at a club and stay there for their entire career. I think it's going to be extremely rare. It's simply because that is football, and that's the way things have gone, and money talks.
Players like Connor Chaplin can offer us some encouragement, but as money talks more and more, the breed of the one-club man is becoming extinct. Ashley Gregory, Solent Sports News.
The draw for the Champions League and Europa League completed earlier today. Manchester City and Liverpool have drawn against one another in the Champions League, whilst Arsenal will face Russian side CSKA Moscow in Europa League. The other exceptional fixture of the round is a repeat of last year's final, Real Madrid versus Juventus. The quarter-finals will kick off in early April. Liverpool manager Jurgen Klopp said that the tie will be difficult for both sides.
I knew it will be difficult, and that's difficult. The good news is for Man City difficult as well. It's hard work, and that's good so, because it's the last 8 in Europe, and if that would be easy, then something would be wrong.
The Gold Cup has finished with Native River coming out on top in the Cheltenham. Might Bite finished second and Annabelle Fly finished third. Native River was ridden by jockey Richard Johnson and is trained by Colin Tizard. Moving on to some of the packages now from our reporters here at Solent. Bernard Morley and Anthony Johnson, the Cowley brothers, and now Ian Saunders and Mick Catlin. All of these do a rare job in football, joint managing a club, and it's working wonders for AFC Portchester, with the Royals only losing 2 league games since January under the new dynamic duo.
Just the two of us, we can make it if we try. Just the two of us. FA Cup history rewritten by Lincoln City.
We've played football together, talked together, managed together, pretty much spent all of our life together, haven't we? So we know each other inside out.
5 of Manchester United's most successful players have bought a football club. They've sacked their old manager and given the job to Bernard Morley and Anthony Jono Johnson.
Just the two of us, we can make it if we try. Just the two of us.
They say 2 heads are better than 1, and that's what AFC Portchester are doing with the appointment of Mick Catlin, who reunites with his mate Ian Saunders.
Michael Catlin, joint manager.
Ian Saunders, joint manager.
Catlin had been the manager of Gosport Borough, but moved to AFC Portchester in January to share the management role. The duo's victory over Hayling United in the Portsmouth Senior Cup last month set up an exciting semi-final due to be played this week, where Catlin could have a point to prove.
Gosport beat Mayfield 1-0, so we play Gosport in the next round. We'll be going there to win it, and not sure what sort of side we've put out, but it'll be a bit of a mixture. But we want to win. We want to get to the final. We want to win the final.
But how did the two reunite at the Royals? Catlin explains how Saunders jumped at the chance to work with him.
We've known each other a long time. We've worked together in the past, and he said, "Come and have a look round." Showed me, what the club was about, the ambitions of the club. Spoke to Paul Kelly, the chairman. I enjoy working with Ian, and we've both got goals to get the team promoted, and just felt it was the right move for me, really.
The pair have some history, having worked together before at Fleet Town, Chichester and Brockenhurst.
Worked as manager with Ian as a player, Ian as assistant manager.
Cats is always in charge. He always has been in charge. No, I'll be brutal. No. He's a little bit older than I am. I played for him, and we've worked together, coaching before. I took my own job a couple of years ago, and I've been desperate to try and get him on board ever since. And this first opportunity for us to be able to work together, because we've known each other such a long time. The way we do our business is relatively similar as well, and it was a no-brainer for us, really. And fingers crossed, it's a long-term plan we've got here now, that we want to get things done sooner rather than later. But if they don't, we'll stick together and see where we can get ourselves going in the near future.
Saunders was previously sole manager of Portchester, so was there a need for someone else to step in?
Sometimes those opportunities come up, don't they? I've faith in my own ability, certainly in my coaching staff's ability. When someone of his character and his ilk and experience becomes available, again, it would have been remiss of me not to have said, come and give us a go and help us get where we want to try and get.
The Royals have only lost 2 league games since the duo took charge. They say 2 heads are better than 1, and things certainly seem that way for AFC Portchester. Jack Lindsay, Solent Sports News.
Just the two of us, we can make it if we try. Just the two of us.
And on to our next package. The Winter Olympics and Paralympics are almost over for another 4 years, but one sport has gained more popularity than others, even attracting some famous new fans. Matt Masson reports.
Sent to prison for a crime they didn't commit. These men promptly escaped to the Los Angeles underground. If you have a problem, if no one else can help, and if you can find them, maybe you can hire the A-Team.
You might just want to check there's no curling competitions going on. Mr. T, who plays B.A. Baracus in the A team, has been one of many curling converts after Pyeongchang. Jonathan Havercroft's curling team are ranked 400th in the world. He's also a politics lecturer at the University of Southampton. The Canadian says that the A-team star's tweets are much more than a publicity stunt.
So you have someone like Mr. T, he wasn't just tweeting I like curling, I was actually following his Twitter. By the end of the Olympics, he was writing some knowledgeable stuff. It was like analyzing games and talking about offense and cheering for the Americans. So it wasn't just curling's novel, it's actually a genuine fan by the end of the 2 weeks.
Another new curling fan is Southampton-based sports journalist Will Perridge. He says he enjoys the more strategic element of the game.
It's not just knocking each other's stones out of the way, it's more like placement and where you're putting your stones. And I find it quite just tense as well, like when it's at the end and they're trying to get the points. I just found it very interesting, very easy to watch.
With the semi-finals of the Paralympic curling coming up over the next few days, there'll be plenty of new fans tuning in, and anyone that doesn't, well, I pity the fool! Matt Masson, Solent Sports News.
And that's all for now, but do join us next week for more sports news. Remember, you can keep up to date on our website solentjournalism.co.uk. But for now, it's goodbye.